You can like it and not like it the next day, right? You can put someone one day, get angry than the next day. And that's why we make the qalbi bil qulub thabit qalbi ala deen, right? To our lives, our dunya, there is nothing perhaps that is more pervasive, more ubiquitous now, more just flowing through our lives than technology. Technology, yeah.
Cell
Phones, okay, very good.
computers.
Computers, okay, what else? Tablet, on that Netflix binge, right? What else? Consoles, like all of the problems we could avoid. Ask the question, is it good for me or bad for me? Is this thing good for me to say or bad? Right? The angels that are writing. Which angel's going to write what I'm saying? If we ask ourselves this question, then everything becomes easier. Have you guys ever said something that you regretted? Anybody? Who said something before that they regretted?
A little bit like
Every day it seems, right? SubhanAllah. Can you guys share, or is it too dangerous to share? Might be too dangerous. Okay. But you can, SubhanAllah, some people, they'll say things that they just regret. And especially the young people, you know, when you get to an argument with your parents, and your parents are like kind of yelling at you, and then you just like, you don't know what comes over you, but you just say something back, and immediately after it leaves your tongue, you're like, what? You're like, oh man, why did I say that, right? I can't believe I just yelled back at my parents. And they come with you with the hand, right? Or the ship, or the chuckle, right? You get that stamp. Also, you have a full baby stamp on your back, right? Allah says, Allah protect us from the ship, and me. But these things, when you say too much, it can hurt you. And Twitter is one of those, we're laughing a little bit here, but I've literally seen people be harmed from sharing too much on Twitter. Marriages be harmed from sharing too much on Facebook. That people post up things, and instead of just talking to their spouse, instead of just saying, this is a concern that I have, they share it with the world, and the other spouse finds out, and they've completely lost trust. So we're laughing, but the problem is that when you develop this personality habit, and this is true for all of these, when you develop a habit at a young age, it's very hard to break at an older age. So if you develop a habit of sharing too much information at a young age, then as an older person, you're also going to share information too much. So we need to conquer this early on, before we get too involved. Number 2, the second disease is getting involved in something that is not your business. And this is like part of Facebook's like code of conduct. Is that the ability to share comments or write comments? That's the whole point, is that you can get involved in something that you should not be getting involved in, right? So 2 people are arguing, 2 people are discussing, 2 people are fighting, 2 people are having a conversation, and you jump in, right? SubhanAllah. And this is a hadith in Tirmidhi, the Prophet Muhammad said that from the excellence and completeness of a person's iman is that they don't get involved or they stay away from what does not concern them. They leave it. If it doesn't concern you. So think about all these things the Prophet is teaching us. Number 1 is that, this guy's having a great time, mashallah. Think about these things. Number 1, if you ask yourselves, if I say this, is it good or bad? Number 2, is that, does this concern me or not? If it doesn't concern me, don't come near it. Now, why do we talk about things that don't concern us? Who can answer me this question? Why do we talk about things that don't concern us? What about us to share your opinion? What did you say? They're interesting? Yeah, could be. But if it doesn't concern you, why do we keep sharing them? Or why do we keep talking about it?
It makes you feel good.
Huh? You want to know what happens at the end, possibly? Okay, but then it does concern you. Because you're interested, you want to know what happens. Don't talk about things that just don't concern you at all. Right?
So the sun is getting jealous of you, chasing you in the front.
Sure, inshallah.
Relax.
Sure. So one of the reasons why we need to talk about this is because it's a satiation of the ego, right? The nafs. The nafs wants to be part of everyone's conversation. Please forgive me, I had knee surgery last year. I'm just going to extend my leg. The nafs wants to be part of every conversation, right? That it wants to talk about this. It wants to have an opinion on this. But you know, one of the dangers of social media is that it makes us feel like our opinions matter. But you know what your opinion is worth? 1 over 6 billion, 7 billion. What number is that percentage-wise? Can't even know. It doesn't even register. That's what my opinion, that's what it's worth. So to get involved in conversation after conversation online, especially in times of fitna, especially when people are arguing, when people are fighting, and you have no concern, there's no reason for you to get involved, then it's part of your iman. Your iman is at risk. If a person doesn't stay away from this, then their iman could be incomplete, deficient, right? And so it's very important to train the person not to let their nafs get the best of them. This is the third thing now. Narcissism and vanity. Showing off good deeds. You know, people, subhanAllah, I think one of the worst inventions ever is having mirrors at the gym. I think it's like the worst thing ever. People don't even lift anymore. They just go take pictures in front of the gym, in front of the mirror at the gym. That's literally all they do. You know, it was really funny. I had a friend on Twitter, and his sister trolled him so bad. You guys know what trolling is? It's like when they like mock him, right? So his sister said, she took like a really old Instagram picture of him where his caption said, "This is the only selfie I'm ever going to take. Only mirror selfie I'm ever going to take. I'm only doing it because I'm dressed up or something." And then the next picture she put up was a collage of like 50 other mirror selfies that he took the next day. Right? This is, I mean, and we're all victim of this, right? A little bit of narcissism, a little bit of vanity. We want to show off a little bit. But this leads to something called the Prophet ﷺ, and Riyā is very, very dangerous, right? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he described it as minor shirk. You guys know what shirk is? What's shirk? In the back, your hands raised, inshallah. Yes. Perhaps it could be someone who disbelieves in Allah doing something bad, okay? But shirk is something very specific. To associate somebody with Allah. You know what the problem with this definition is? It's right, but you know what the problem is? When we talk about shirk, everyone thinks, have you guys ever been to the PF Chang's? What's the giant horse? Everyone thinks that shirk is praying to that giant horse. That's not shirk. It could be. But shirk could even be something worse than that. Having idols doesn't necessarily mean physical idol. Can you commit shirk with money? Yeah, of course. Can you commit shirk with, work? Yeah, of course you can, right? If somebody says Allah, you're not needed for it. To give all the time, then that's equivalent to, that's essentially the act of shirk. That person may not be a mushrik, but that's the act. When you take what is only meant for Allah, right? The rights of Allah, and you give it to something else, that is going on that path of shirk, okay? So Riyā, that's why it's described as minor shirk, because a person is showing off their good deeds, and they're not doing their good deeds for Allah, but they're doing it so that other people can see them and talk about them. There's a very famous story, I don't know if it's true, but it's funny, right? So I'm going to tell it. That there was a young man who was praying, and he wanted to marry the daughter of one of the elders of the masjid, okay? So the elder of the masjid was sitting there, and he kept praying. And he was praying so long. The young man was praying so long, right? And the elder was sitting behind him with one of his friends, and he said about the young man, he says, "MashaAllah, this young man, I see him every day. He's praying, he prays so long, he spends so much time in prayer. MashaAllah, he's so pious." And the young man is hearing this, right? And he's liking it. Because he's praying, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm right, I'm pious, right?" And he wanted to marry his daughter. So he's like, "All right, sounds good, sounds good." And the other guy said, "Yeah, mashallah, I heard such good things about him. I heard he gives sadaqah, I heard he does this." And the young man turns in prayer and says, "And I'm fasting too." Right? This is an example of Riyā. That he's doing all these things, and maybe he was doing all those things. Maybe he was donating sadaqah, maybe he was fasting, maybe he was praying, but why was he doing it? He was doing it so that other people would praise him. And there's a very scary moment on the Day of Judgment where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will actually say to the person who engaged in Riyā, he will say, "Go and seek your reward from the people that you wanted it from." Imagine the Day of Judgment. That day when all we've wanted is to enter Jannah. All we've wanted is to be near Allah and the Anbiya and the Salihin and the Shuhada. All these people, we just want to be near them and enjoy Jannah. And Allah says to the person, because they were showing off, "Listen, you did your ibadah, but you did it for somebody else. Go and get your reward. I could have given you Jannah, but you can get whatever you want from them. Whatever they can give you, what can they give you? SubhanAllah, nothing." On that day, no one can give anybody anything. يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ. Nobody will be able to give anyone anything except for Allah. But he's saying sarcastically, rhetorically, "Go get your reward." Right? Isn't that why you worship? So Riyā is very dangerous. Now, how can Riyā be dangerous online? I want you guys to tell me. How can someone do Riyā showing off online with regards to their relationship with Allah? I want to hear from the sisters too. Yes? Hopefully not while you're praying. Take pictures during Tarawih, right? And actually, this is a very interesting one. Like, there are people, and I'm not saying that we judge people. We don't judge people, but this is a potential avenue that we have to be careful from. is when people check in to the masjid like every day. And they're like, mashallah, here again. So pious, mashallah. Anyone want to come to Jannah with me? Right? Check into the masjid, ISCJ, right? And the best is when they subhanAllah, they check in at like Fajr time. And I'm not saying that this person's sinning or committing riyah, but it's a dangerous path that you can take. SubhanAllah, it's better to keep your good deeds private. One of my teachers, he said this. He said, if your public good deeds are more than your private good deeds, then you are in danger of riyah. He said, make your private good deeds much more than your public good deeds. So he said, Sheikh, does that mean that we stop doing good in public? He said, no. Whatever you do in public, do more in private. Don't decrease your public, increase your good in private. So you know what that is? That's like when you're in your bedroom at night all alone. Nobody's with you, nobody can see you. And let's say, mashallah, you can get up and pray 2 rak'ah, nafil, tahajjud. You just got done with your Netflix binge of 4 hours, right? You can get up, inshallah, and pray 2 rak'ah, tahajjud. Imagine doing that and nobody knows that you did it. What a beautiful feeling that you have. What a beautiful secret you have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not even your parents know. You just get up and pray. Or, let's say you don't want to get up and make wudu, you're tired, raise your hands. And say, Allah, thank you so much for everything you've given me. Thank you, Allah. Without you, I wouldn't have anything. I rely on you alone. All praises for you, Allah. Thank you. Forgive me for my mistakes. Imagine making that 30-second dua and nobody knows you did it. What an amazing feeling that you would have. SubhanAllah. Or donating something online and nobody knows that you donated it because it's private. Now, after you do it, don't share it on Facebook. By the way, I just donated this much. I'm so charitable. I'm so pious. Don't do that. But increase your private good deeds. Increase your private good deeds. What's a hadith that Prophet ﷺ teaches us this? He says what? That a person should give sadaqah, that their right hand does it and their left hand doesn't even know what they're doing. So that means that you don't do a lot of commotion. You do it very quickly. Without, one time I asked for donations at my masjid for a project we were doing with the youth, and one of the brothers gave me $100, and I didn't even know who it was. He did it so quickly. Shook my hand. I mean, for some people that might be like analogous to like a deal for, substances that are haram. But he like shook my hand very quickly and just gave it to me very quickly. He gave it to me very quickly, and I didn't even remember what his face was. That's the kind of good deeds that we should be doing. In a day and age, everybody tries to put themselves out there that they're doing good and that they need to be noticed for it, but we have to make sure we don't fall into that culture. We ask Allah to protect us from vanity and riyah. Right? Number 4. So the first is saying too much. The second was getting involved in things that aren't your business. The third is riyah and narcissism, right? Falling in love with yourself. You know who's a narcissist, by the way? Shaitan. Don't be like Shaitan. Okay, now the 5th. Okay? No, sorry, the 4th. The 4th is envy. Envy is a very real thing, by the way. Who can define hasad? And how is it different than jealousy? Yes? Good. There's one part that you're missing. You got 99% of it. Jealousy and envy have a difference in, there's ghibta and there's hasad, right? So jealousy and envy have one small difference. You just did jealousy. So you want something that they have, yes? Perhaps, okay? There's one other part.
You don't want them to have what
you don't want them to have it, right? So you're like, I want that, I don't want them to have it. That's hasad, right? Jealousy is saying, they have that, I want that too, right? And there are certain kinds of jealousy that is good. The hadith teaches us what kind of jealousy is good. Good, someone who can give sadaqah, someone who can sit with a shaykh and get right, gain knowledge. That's good jealousy, right? Because you're like, man, I would do that. But envy is not good. Envy is like, I don't know why that person has that. You see it in issues of marriage, in issues into programs for school, grad school. You see it in issues of children. You see it all over. Hasad, the Prophet Muhammad said, is like it eats up your good deeds like fire eats up wood. You guys ever been near a campfire before? After a while, what's the end of a campfire when you put it out?
Do you see those logs anymore? They're gone. Ashes. Imagine your good deeds are like these giant logs. And you're trying to build a house in Jannah, and hasad comes from action. So having envy is not good. How does envy affect us on social media? There was a study done a year ago that I read online where it said that people always share things online, good things about their life. They don't share bad things. Most people share good things. The danger in this is that everyone thinks that everyone's life is amazing except for theirs. So you go on Facebook, you're scrolling, and you see one person just got back from vacation in the Caribbean, one person just bought a new Benz, one person just got accepted into Mets, just got married, 3 people just had kids. No one's sharing the fact that the kid has diarrhea, that the Benz is a flat tire, that the vacation had a delayed flight, that the marriage started 4 hours late and the food was cold. No one shares all those facts. Everyone just shares the good. But the problem is that when we're scrolling through our Facebook, we only see the good, and we start to think, what? My life is horrible. I didn't get married. I don't have kids. I don't have a new car. I didn't go on vacation. But in reality, everyone has those struggles. But when you share all these good things online, you open yourself. There's an asar that's very interesting about Umar ibn Khattab, where one time he saw a beautiful child, really, really cute child. And he took the child and he took a little piece of dust from the floor, just a little piece of dust. And he just made a tiny little mark on the child, like right above the eye, the eyebrow. Little mark, right? He didn't like take like face paint and like put it like a line, but he just did a little mark. And he said, this child is too adorable. We need to protect this child from hasad. My mother taught me a lesson. She said, never be the best dressed person in the room. I said, Mom, it's hard for me though. Come on, like, look, you know. But she said, never be the best dressed. Mashallah, like, Ali Day, mashallah.
She said that to you before marriage?
Every day. She said, never be, actually, she said it at weddings. She said, never be the best dressed person, right? Always be second best dressed. But she said, be first in your knowledge. SubhanAllah. But she said, and I'm not, may Allah increases all knowledge, but she said, never be, she goes, don't attract attention to yourself. Don't always tell people, look at me, look at me, look at me, right? Because you're going to be attracting people's jealousy, and if you do it enough, you might be attracting their hasad. Now, the other thing about hasad, or nazar, or envy, that's what people call it, don't let it take over your life. There are some people who like won't leave their home because they're afraid of hasad. Remember that Allah is more powerful than hasad, right? So there are some people who like won't, do anything because they're afraid of hasad. That's not good. Read your mu'awwidhatayn, read your ayat al-kursi, pray your fajr in jama'ah, do the right things, but also don't attract hasad unnecessarily, especially online information. And if good things happen to you, you don't need to share every good thing online. You don't need to share every good thing that happens to you online. Some things should only be meant for family and close friends. The fifth thing is shamelessness. Shamelessness. And in specific, there's one hadith that's very serious that we need to think about. And that is the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and a lot of you might be like, how do you do this online? Like, how does someone reveal their sins online? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that every sin, every sinner, every person who makes a mistake, how many of us make mistakes? Anybody? All of us, okay? Alhamdulillah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ghafur Rahim, inshallah. So it's good. We make mistakes. Every person who makes mistakes can qualify for Allah's forgiveness, except the person who reveals their sins. Why is this? Sorry, what? People are witness to it. That could be one thing. Because the hadith says that Allah hid it during the night. He gives the example that a person sinned at night behind, and Allah put a veil, right, a hijab, that he did not get seen. In the morning, he announced to the people that, oh people, I did such and such a sin, right? What's one of the reasons why this is so terrible?
Because he's encouraging others.
Number one, it could be creating a culture where he's encouraging others to do it. What else? Yes?
Not ashamed or upset.
There's no shame. There's no shame. They're not upset. They're not sorry. They're not disappointed. Right? There's no nedam. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that regret is tawbah. If someone wants to know if their tawbah is accepted, ask one question. Am I regretful? If I don't feel any regret, but I'm saying astaghfirullah, then I have to ask myself, do I really seek forgiveness? Because regret, tawbah, are the same thing. An-nadam, tawbah, right? So when we share our sins online to places that we shouldn't be, putting up pictures that we shouldn't be, communicating with people that we be talking to, etc., looking at things that we shouldn't do, you know, and it's really unfortunate. Sometimes people, you know, when they look at things that they shouldn't watch and they click like on accident or whatever, then it shows up on their timeline and everyone can see it. SubhanAllah. But revealing sins is a sign of complete and total lack of regret. Imagine if you were playing football with your friends and you know you were punting it or whatever, and the football went crashing through someone's living room window. Okay, what would you do, young brother? What would you do if you threw a football through someone's window? You're right. The New Jersey way, right? So now, what would you do? You go and you go act innocent, okay? You go and you apologize, right?
Yeah.
You say, I'm sorry. And for some people, they might start crying even and say, I'm really sorry. The person says, this window was $3,000. And the person realizes they don't have $3. And they start crying, I'm so sorry. What can I do to fix it? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That person, they get forgiven. The person whose house it is, they say, you know what? It's okay. Let's talk to your parents. Let's see if we can figure it out. Imagine going to that same person's house and saying, why is your window so big anyways? It's not my fault you put it there. Maybe house hunters can come or something. Maybe property brothers can come fix this for you, right? That person, do you think the person's going to forgive them? Why? They're not showing any remorse, right? I used to be, before I started studying Islam more seriously and working as an imam, I used to be a teacher in high school. And you know, there's two kinds of kids at the end of the semester. There's the kid, well, actually there's a lot of kinds of kids, but there's two kinds of kids that are not getting the grades they want at the end of the semester. There's the kid that doesn't care, I'll get what I get, and there's the kid that comes up to me and says, what can I do? Can I please get better grades? What can I do? Can you give me extra credit? Can you give me this? Can you give me that? And subhanAllah, when I used to look at the kids' attendance, and I used to look at their homework, if they did their homework but they didn't do well, I would give them extra credit to do. But if they never even turned anything in the first place, and ditched class all the time, then I would say, you know what? I shouldn't give you a second chance, because you didn't even care about your first chance, right? So when somebody has the audacity and the arrogance to show their sins online, to publicize what Allah has hidden from people, then imagine that person goes to Allah on the day of Ya Ghafur Rahim, Ya Rahman, come on, forgive me. Allah will say, look, I hid it from people. You're the one that showed it to people, right? And that's a sign of arrogance with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah protect us. That's a sign of kibr with Allah, right? When you're ashamed of something, you don't want anyone to know about it. You hide a deep, deep, dark secret. You don't want anyone to know. Imagine how Facebook and how Twitter has made this very difficult. We share things that we shouldn't be doing. May Allah protect us from that. So you don't want to share your sins. If Allah hid it, say alhamdulillah, make tawbah, and move on. The next thing, second to last, the sixth thing, a complete neglect of tawbah. Or taqwa, sorry, a complete neglect of taqwa. You know, there's a beautiful hadith about a companion named Mu'adh. And Mu'adh, subhanAllah, was one of the younger companions of the Prophet Muhammad. And the Prophet gave him beautiful advice. He said, Ya Mu'adh, he said, Ittaqillaha haythu ma kunt. He said, have consciousness of Allah wherever you are. وَاتَّبِعَ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُوهَا وَخَالِقِ النَّاسِ بِخُلُقٍ حَسَنٍ. He said, and follow up your bad deeds with a good deed, it will erase it. And he said, what? And treat people well, with good character, right? The first part of this hadith is what we're going to focus on. He said, have taqwa of Allah wherever you are. What is taqwa? What is taqwa? What does that mean? Awareness. That's the word that we want to use. Taqwa means that you're aware of Allah. You know, it's like having someone else in the room with you, like you know. But I don't want you guys to feel like it's like a security camera that's watching you, and the minute you make a mistake, bam, you're going to get the hammer dropped on you. I want you to think it's like a loving person who doesn't want you to make mistakes, right? That's taqwa. You know, there's that famous story about the three young boys, the three sons. The father gave them a piece of candy. He said, "Go eat this where no one can see you." The first one went to the closet. The second one went to the forest. And the third one came back with the candy and said, "Allah watches me. I can't eat it. Allah can see me wherever I am. I can't eat it." Right? That's taqwa. That you know that Allah is watching you, and that you think about Ramadan. Think about Ramadan. How many of us fasted in Ramadan? Alhamdulillah. Allahumma ballighna Ramadan. I mean, you know, the companions after Ramadan ended, for the next 6 months, they would make dua that Allah accepted Ramadan. Then after 6 months hit, and there was 6 months left, they would say, "Oh Allah, allow us to see Ramadan again." Right? Their year was Ramadan focused, Ramadan centered. So Ramadan is the perfect time for taqwa. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. When you fast, you don't eat and drink. Could you go to the bathroom? If you wanted to, could you? You can go to the bathroom, quickly get a snack, get something to drink real quick. No one would know, right? But we don't. Why? Because we know Allah's watching us. And we have that taqwa. Being online, subhanAllah, there's something that is false, that is falsely confident about being behind a computer screen, where we feel like no one watches us. We feel like we can say whatever we want, we can look at whatever we want, we can talk to whoever we want, and subhanAllah, we feel like Allah, for some reason, cannot know that that's there. But it's not true. You know, if anything, the computer and technology in general is actually a more database and categorized record of our actions. You know, I looked at my Facebook the other day, and I went back to 2011, and I saw that I checked into a restaurant in San Francisco on a Friday at 4 p.m. Do you realize how scary that is? That I was able to look and see exactly where I was on that Friday at 4 p.m. Exactly where I was. You know, young people nowadays, mashallah, you guys are actually lucky for your taqwa. Let me explain why. When I was young, when we used to hear that angels write down your good and bad deeds, and they know everything, and your book is going to have everything, we were like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Like, how is that going to happen, right? We were like, I know that Allah can do everything, but I can't imagine that happening. We used to think that our book was never going to be like that. Now you just have Facebook. And you know that it's going to be like that. Because you scroll down and you see where you were the last 10 months of the year. Every single check-in, every single conversation, subhanAllah. Or your Twitter timeline, right? How many of you have seen the Twitter timelines of Bia and Roseanne and Yusuf? Anybody? Have checked it out? Allah yarhamhum. Allah have mercy on them. Give their families patience. You know, subhanAllah, their Twitter timelines, if you look at it, it was a good kitab for them, mashallah. You know, that, mashallah, we ask Allah to accept it. They were writing such beautiful things, subhanAllah, such beautiful reminders. And imagine on the Day of Judgment, that part of their book is all these beautiful reminders, these good things that they said, subhanAllah. So don't lose taqwa because of technology. Don't lose taqwa because of technology. And the final point to wrap up, because I know, mashallah, we've had a long talk, long day, is suspicion and slandering. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, إِنَّ بَعْضَ الظَّنِّ إِثْمٍ. إِنَّ بَعْضَ الظَّنِّ إِثْمٍ. He says that verily, some suspicion is very sinful, right? Which means that we don't want to suspect other people. That leads us to break relationships with them. In Surah Hujurat, that entire surah is talking about what? Building relationships back with people. How do you build relationships back? If we keep suspecting people and snooping on people, and the technological term is stalking people online and creeping on their profiles, and we start engaging and flaming the suspicion, we start growing the fires of suspicion, then subhanAllah, we might enter a black hole that we can never get out of. And that leads to slander and drama. And the Prophet Muhammad said that a slanderer will never enter paradise. And a backbiter will lose their good deeds. And there's one famous story in the seerah that I want to share before we conclude about backbiting. Because a lot of us don't really know what backbiting is. Like, what is backbiting? We say it's saying something about somebody behind their back that they wouldn't like. But at what degree? There was one time where they were on a ghazwa, they were on a journey, on an expedition with the Prophet Muhammad, and the companions, we used to share tents. So there were 3 companions in a tent. And 2 of them woke up, and the way that they would do it was they would clean up their tent, they would wrap it up, and then they would go get food from the Prophet Muhammad from that main area, okay? So the 2 companions woke up, and the 3rd one slept in a little bit. and the two companions did all the cleaning. Okay? When they completed the cleaning, the third Sahabi was still sleeping, he was just waking up. So now the two companions said, we're going to go get the food. And as they were walking away, they said, we'll just get food for two of us, because this one, he doesn't really, he doesn't deserve food, right? He slept, right? He doesn't deserve it. So they went, and they got to the Prophet Muhammad, and the Prophet Muhammad only gave them food for one. And he said, you two have already eaten. You've already backbitten. You've already had that food. You've eaten the flesh of your brother, right? The dead flesh of your brother, as the Surah says. So when this story is told to us, we learn something. That statement they made about, oh, this companion, he loves to sleep. That statement, such a small statement, right? Like, we wouldn't consider that to be a big deal. If someone said that about me, I wouldn't, get so upset. But the Prophet is teaching us what? That backbiting is a very slippery slope. That you can start walking on it and never ever stop. So we have to make sure that we stop. And technology makes backbiting very easy. Screenshotting, screen capping, Snapchatting, right? All of these things, subtweeting, all these avenues that we take advantage of, we need to protect ourselves from them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us. These are just a few of the ways. And again, the whole goal of this whole discussion is what? To have a clean heart, to have a pure heart, to not let the heart get distracted or destroyed by any of these things. We ask Allah to protect us and keep us connected to Him and disconnected from the shar, the evil, and shaitan. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullah khairan to your community and to Sheikh. Jazakumullah khair for letting me come. It's an honor to sit and spend some time with you. I have a flight very shortly, unfortunately, back home, inshallah. So I ask you to make dua for me, dua for my family and my teachers, and make dua for your Sheikh. There's a beautiful statement in the Urdu language, Gatti murgi dal barabar, right? And what it means is that the house chicken is like lentils. And what that means is that when you have something every day, you take it for granted. So you eat chicken every day, and it becomes like lentils at a restaurant. So you have chicken at home, right? So you have, mashallah, Sheikh here. This Sheikh is a beautiful, don't take it wrong, he's a beautiful chicken, mashallah, right? Don't treat him like lentils, okay? He's much more than lentils, mashallah. Take advantage of it. Don't let him feel like you're treating him like adas, like dal, okay? Inshallah. So that statement, inshallah, remember that. Make dua for my wife as well, for letting me travel and visit your community. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان الذي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. آمين. السلام عليكم.
We'll take some questions.
I got to run a little bit. We have an hour drive back. I appreciate it, man. Sorry about that. I hope you won't. Next time.
Assalamu alaikum. So I'll call Imam Shuli up here so he can say some good parting words for our guest. I know we were going to take some questions. Again, we started a little bit late, and the Ustad does have to catch the flight, and we don't want him to miss the flight. What we'll do is we will make him commit to coming back to ISCJ, inshallah, right?
Inshallah.
So, inshallah, we'll bring him back for a longer period. Again, he's very busy, he's traveling. It was difficult. His time is booked all the time, traveling across the country. So, inshallah, let's remember him and his dua. And again, we'll try to book him and bring Ustad Murphy back again. So, I apologize. I know a lot of people wrote down their questions. We just ran short on time. So,
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. May I encourage Jamaat to repeat after the Imam by saying Alhamdulillah. We're not loud enough. Alhamdulillah. الذي بعثني معلما ولم يبعثني جابيا. That is one of the appreciation from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. To be thankful, Ya Allah, I thank you by sending me to the Ummah to be a teacher, muallim. And pick up only one thing about our Shaykh today. And really, we don't have that experience as a migrant. And don't take it free ride. He said, I quote, he was a teacher in the high school. Yes? I don't have that experience, but I learned from him. Now, when he was in the high school, he was dealing with those students, Muslim or non-Muslim, 75% they used to live in the Jahiliyyah by all the means after internet. But later on, he moved himself to be what? To be an imam, as he said, I'm quoting him, to deal with everybody around him. And what he's asking us to do, just to make a dua for him and his wife and his family, and for the Jama'ah which he is serving them. And finally, inshallah, Brother Arif, our board of trustees, Jazakumullah khair, everybody in ISCJ will be very appreciative to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring the Shaykh back again for 3 days. Friday khutbah. We have 2 khutbah here. Then Saturday we can play soccer, we can play basketball, because from here on in, very tall and Zayd and other. We can play basketball with them outside. After Allah give him full shifa for his bullies, say Ameen. Then inshallah ta'ala will benefit from him for the whole Sunday, as maybe we can create a long program for male, female, young children, other, because Islam does not only deal with certain ages. And that is my dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward him, to reward you as a Jama'ah, as a community of ISCJ, other guests come from other masajid to attend his lecture. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
السلامة إن شاء الله تعالى. الله سبحانه وتعالى وسلم خير لكم إن شاء الله تعالى.